Big changes are coming soon to Dokkan Battle. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan Battle video. In today's video, I wanted to take a few moments to talk to you guys about the upcoming producer letter airing later tonight at 1900 PST. This will be roughly 10 hours from the release of this video. And in this video, we're going to talk about some of the things that they are going to be showing in their producer letter. So let's go ahead, let's waste no time, let's hop right in. So they have already mentioned on the global in-game news that they will be giving us details about the latest schedule, as well as info on the upcoming characters. Now, at first this seems innocuous, right? Hey, they're going to tell us what's coming next, maybe some events, and an upcoming new character. Seems innocuous. Where it really gets interesting is when we look at what it says on JP. Shout out to Rick here for posting out this translation here, but on JP, instead of saying schedule updates, they use the phrase latest operating schedule. This is a very, very interesting and unique choice because they don't use this term very often. In fact, the last time they used this term was in reference to the roadmap to the global sync, which happened fully by the end of December last year. So very, very interesting choice of words. So we do know there are a lot of things coming, right? Such as updates to the Dokkan Battle, to the app itself, right? We already know we're going through that transition of what we are colloquially calling the Dokkan 2 app update, right? So we've already begun to see, updates to the UI, updates to the battle system, updates to the game itself. So battle motions as well. So we could see some talk about, their plan for future updates in this regard. It certainly would make sense for them to implement that. Possibly even updates that they've been talking about for a while and that we've been asking for a while, such as a friend system revamp, or possible, things like a summon skip button, or, just typical, implementation plan of these types of things that we would need for shifting the app. So we definitely could see that, but that's not the main thing I think people are concerned about. Obviously, we want to know when those things are coming, but as Rick points out here, right, there's a big question that hasn't been answered since we've had anniversary in February with both Global and JP, the first ever synced anniversary. What happened to the TANABATA campaign? What happened to Global's anniversary? They can't seriously suggest to just get rid of this gigantic celebration altogether. Well, yes, we are celebrating it early, right? Most games still celebrate both versions' anniversaries to some degree. So there is a curious question about what's going to be happening with it, because, in years past, right about now with the release of the part 2 is when we start getting all the hints and all the teasers and all the, rewards and stuff leading up to that time frame. See, both TANABATA and Global Anniversary tend to happen concurrently in July. So the big question on everybody's mind is, what's going on here? I think they could merge the two celebrations, TANABATA becoming now what is now Global's anniversary, and both celebrations be framed as a new thank you celebration, right? Thank you for playing. And there is some, I think there is some, there's a lot to suggest this, right? In previous years, right, the Dokkan TANABATA campaigns always had, obviously dealing with the stars, given the theme of TANABATA, right, Deliver to the Heaven TANABATA campaign, right, TANABATA campaign, whatever it is. And then when it gets to Global, because Global doesn't celebrate it during this month, Global ends up getting it usually in the month of November as the Dokkan thank you celebration. They get whatever the TANABATA campaign was during this time. So like, you know, for example, the year with Super Saiyan Full Power Goku, right? This this happened in November and was part of the thank you celebration. The last year was a little different. They extended the Tanabata campaign into the month of August as part of the tail end of 9th anniversary, just to help speed along the sync, which, I mean, was fine. There was nothing wrong with that. Other years, right, they've been part of the wintertime campaign, the Christmas campaign. So like Vegeta and Trunks, for example, part of the Frosty Dokkan winter campaign, instead of a thank you celebration. The thank you celebration, they used the ROF blues, but the celebration was still the same. It's still a rather large celebration with free summon tickets and all that good stuff. So we could definitely see them just taking the whole celebration and renaming it for both, right? Global thank you celebration, right? I mean, we're in weird territory here. This is the first synced year. We don't know what's happening with Global's anniversary. We don't know what's happening with Tanabata. Heck, we don't even know what's happening with Worldwide. Worldwide as a campaign doesn't even make sense anymore in a post-sync world, because the point was sharing the campaign with JP, which now we do all the time anyways. So there's a lot of curiosities here, but I do believe that we will probably see the month of July shifted into this thank you celebration, and that is one of the things they're going to be talking about in the May producer letter. We know that there is a lot going into the build up of something big that's coming next. After all, every month we are getting special summon tickets that can now be used in conjunction with our pity coins to help us get those units sooner, right? And every month it's a new set, so you can use them on every Dokkan Fest that comes through. And we also know that every month we're also getting, you know, tickets to be used for a wallpaper come 11th anniversary. So they are building up a lot of the stuff to something big at the end of the year, with the anniversary. But what about all this big stuff in the meantime? I can't foresee them just throwing big celebrations like this out the window, like the Dokkan Thank You campaign, just simply because now we are synced with JP. In fact, I feel that there is a pretty good chance that this is the new combination event for the month of July. Because when they first announced pity coins for Dokkan Fest, they specifically named a few different celebrations, right? They named New Year's, they named Saiyan Day, and they named Thank You Celebration. Whereas on JP, they did not specifically name Tanabata for the... Now, I mean, you would think nothing of that, given that... you know, you would think nothing of that, given that, you know, Tanabata is typically an LR, and this was in reference to Dokkan. This was in reference to new Dokkan Fest pity coins, but on Global, Dokkan Thank You has been LRs in the past, so it was interesting that they specifically didn't mention that in that. And I will back up and say I could be wrong, but when I went and looked back at the translations, I did not see that written in it for that news announcement on the JP version. But if I'm wrong, somebody please feel free to correct me on that on the comments. But I'm fairly certain about that. Now, with that in mind, that does pretty much... I feel like that sinks... not sinks. That pretty much cinches the deal that we are getting... We're probably going to start getting the first teasers of what's to come for Tanabata / Thank You in this global producer letter, on top of whatever the new LR is going to be. We've already done a video on who we think that's going to be, you know, Kefla, Super Saiyan 2 Kaba, you know, or whoever else. But this is the big thing here, right? Big things are coming. We are getting a major app update info with the operation schedule here, right? We're going to know more about this whole Dokkan 2 shenanigans. You know, if you want to call it that, we're going to know more probably about future releases for these big celebrations. So, guys, that is it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, tell us, what do you think they're going to do in this producer letter? Yes, it's releasing in just about 10 hours, but you know, let's take some time to talk beforehand. I'm curious to know what you guys are thinking, and what are the things you want to see them add the most. We talked about friend system updates. We talked about, you know, revamping the battle UI. We've talked about, you know, maybe getting rid of temp limits, right? What are some things that you want to see Dokkan add as part of their new operating schedule, right? Maybe you're someone still clamoring for that domain update whenever it's gonna come. So let us know what you're interested in seeing and who you think the part 2 LR is in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching and aloha.